He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back.
We're back.
Angry Mortgage is on the air.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. The weather is so weird in Toronto.
Weather's bipolar.
It's just so warm. It's crazy. So I'm watching it's March, right? Like it's the middle of March.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. March is traditionally a cold fucking month in Toronto. So the other day I'm driving along and I'm watching lawn maintenance companies starting spring cleanup on some of the, some of the commercial properties.
Yeah.
Okay? Like I'm thinking,
yeah.
Have we lost our minds? I mean, like, it could snow again, but yet there they are. They're like tidying up, removing the sticks of the old crap and tidying up the brush and the bushes.
They're getting ahead of the season.
What the fuck? We got spring cleanup in March in fucking Toronto? This is like the craziest thing ever.
Listen, I didn't use my snowblower the whole season, so.
You're right. There was no particular reason.
No.
Right?
No.
Reason at all. Anyway, like I keep having to say every show, if this is global warming in Toronto, I'm good.
The world everywhere has been so much warmer than usual.
Well, I think some places, but there've been like hurricanes and
I think it's
storms.
the season, though.
Anyway, but like it's been weird in some places. But
yeah, it's pretty fucked.
Anyway, Toronto,
we're fucked.
Nobody's complaining. Nobody's complaining. All right, so I've been really thinking about this all week because as I see reports come in and I look at particularly some of the commentary and some of all of last month, I'd say the last 2 months, all the photo ops. We see so many politicians
with the hard hats,
and the fluorescent vests. Okay. And, and I'm not just them, not just the feds, not just Trudeau and Friedland and Sean Fraser, the housing minister, all with their hard hats on, their vests and this and that. I'm talking about everybody. Like old Doug Ford puts on a way like oversized vest. Like he must get like the vest from the same guy I would have to get the vest from, right? Like there's got to be a fat guy's vest store, okay? Fluorescent vest, and he's got his hard hat, and he's doing it. Olivia Chow, the mayor of Toronto, she puts on her hard hat, kind of a little tiny person's vest because she's really tiny, right? And she's got the vest on. So. And that's not, it's all over. Like it's everywhere. Like everybody promotes, all politicians promote their attention to housing, right? Because housing's a crisis. Canada, it's that simple. Housing's a crisis. Young people feel absolutely fucked over. Okay?
Completely, yep.
Yep. And that's have been for a while. And there's always lots of headlines, lots of stories, lots of posts online. Hey, I got to admit, even Polyev puts his hard hat on once in a while. Pierre does. I've never seen Jagmeet in a hard hat, though. Have you? Don't remember ever seeing him in a hard hat.
No.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Bottom line is, all politicians want to address this issue, right? They want to be seen as managing this issue. So let's talk about housing truth and lies. So housing truth and lies. So the bottom line problem is easy. The price of houses in Canada is batshit crazy. Okay. Like I got off the phone with a guy just today. Smart guy, great guy. He's got some rental properties out in British Columbia, in the real central British Columbia, like in sort of some of it's like towns you've never heard of, but I've been to, okay, because I was born in British Columbia, was raised in British Columbia.
BC native.
And so he says, I've got a few rentals just, around Nelson for the ski areas. Nelson's a small town, okay? But he says, yeah, we're it's surprising. I thought I really got beat up on this one condo I bought. I thought I paid way too much. I bought it a few years ago. Suddenly somebody shows up. They offer us like $100,000 over. I say, geez, really exciting real estate in Nelson. That's wild. And he says, yeah, I'll tell you the wildest one. He says, in Trail, BC. Now, you've never heard of Trail, BC in your life, right? It's a mining town, okay? Now, I know about it because my mother's sister, she's gone. They're all gone now. My own mother's family's all gone because I'm really old. So what the fuck? She'd be like, I think my mother would be over 100, okay? Yeah. And she was one of the younger sisters, right? So they're all gone.
Got it.
But her sister, my aunt, lived in Trail. Okay, like I remember going there once, and even as a little kid, like I think I was like 10 or 11 or something, I looked out over this town of Trail and I thought, wow. And, you know, I could still form swear words in my mind at age 10, okay? I looked over it and I thought, wow, this place looks like the asshole of the world, okay? Like,
oh my God.
It was like Sudbury, but worse, okay? Like it was just mining was awful, okay? So all you people in Trail, we love you. I'm sure you fixed it up.
Sudbury's coming for you next.
Yeah, Sudbury's coming. Yeah, Sudbury, we really love you. You're in Ontario. We really love you. But we do business in Sudbury. We love you all. I mean, you fixed everything over the years. It's beautiful now.
We were talking about when he was 10.
Yeah, when I was 10, like it was like 50 years ago. It was a long time, 56 years ago. And I was stupid then, but Sudbury's beautiful now, okay? Nobody think twice. It's great. Trail also, we're licensed in British Columbia. So yes, Trail also lovely, okay? Beautiful. Like they've changed everything. It's like the Mayan Riviera now, okay?
There we go.
It's perfect. But I tell you what, it was the asshole of the world back then, 56 years ago. And he's telling me, oh yeah, we get great rents in Trail. We have a unit there, and the upstairs gets $2,700 a month, and the basement gets $1,600 a month. And I just about fell out of my chair.
No
I'm thinking,
way.
This is a small town. These are like Kitchener, Hamilton rents, for the love of God. I mean, like it's crazy. It's just crazy. So when I say there's batshit prices everywhere, in Canada, house prices are batshit crazy everywhere. Maybe Brandon's okay. Maybe outside of Regina's okay. Maybe some small place on the outer reaches of New Brunswick is okay. But I'm thinking every place else is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Like like come on. Like these numbers, these rents, these crazy numbers are nuts. So house prices are batshit crazy in Canada, and we have the highest growth of any country. Oh, remember we just celebrated like last year at one point we celebrated 40 million, right? You saw that. Remember that? We broke through 40 million last year, right? You saw it. It was kind of publicized, right? In 5 weeks, we're going to break through 41. Yeah, 41 million. Okay. I just saw it this morning.
Holy shit.
40,934,000 and going. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have we're in the top 5 of the fastest growth rates of our population in the world.
Right.
Okay. The house prices are batshit crazy. Everything's growing like crazy. Oh, by the way, one of the reasons the guy is a very smart guy who called. He said one of the reasons that rents have gone way up in Trail, BC, is that there's a community college there that's filled up with international students. Okay. Boom.
That'll do it.
That'll do it. So what's the truth and what's the lies? The truth of all these politicians, they all have a program they want to talk about. Federally, they talk about the Housing Accelerator Fund, which is $5 billion over the next 10 years. There's all you always see them in a hard hat project. Look, we're going to put this many units in here, that many units in there, blah, blah, blah. We got the Ontario has a similar program that's designed to reward municipalities that have lots of housing starts. If you break a certain number of housing starts, you get awarded money. Okay. Okay, that's great. And you hear the local mayors say, yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to build that, we're going to change zoning here, we're going to do the zoning there, and we're going to fix everything. We're going to have more density, more houses. CMHC just like last week on Friday comes out with, hey, housing starts are up in February. Great news. Housing starts are up. Okay. Well, now I want to talk about, is it a lie? But it's not completely the truth. When everybody looks at all these programs, all these photo ops, all these pictures, all these posts online about the government helping with new housing, the key thing you need to know is none of the actual housing is to buy.
Right.
You can't buy it. So if you're listening, if you're watching, watching some YouTube about this, or you're looking at your phone and here's the housing minister saying this is going to do this and that, and you want to buy a house, you're a young person who wants to buy a house. It's really important you know it's fuck all to do with you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not to do with you. When CMHC announces, better housing starts better than last year, which was a terrible year, but better housing starts in February. Good news, housing starts up 14% in February. All of the increase is in purpose-built rentals.
In all the fine print.
No, they don't even bother. They don't even bother with the fine print. They don't even tell you.
Wow.
They avoid it completely. Okay, but the growth is, if you separated out homes for sale from that 234,000 number, and you separate out homes for sale that people could buy and homes that were designed to be purpose-built rentals, you would realize that the homes to buy is so far below 2021, it's ridiculous. Okay,
Wow.
like 2021 was apex year for homes to building of homes to buy. It keeps going down. Okay, so by the way, I'm not opposed to building purpose-built rentals. Like,
of course,
people need rentals.
Yeah,
God damn it, let's build them.
People need places to live.
100%. And the more purpose-built rentals you build, you have a shot of getting some of the rents down, which is great. Okay, but we got all these politicians not being specific about what they're doing at all. Like, not at all. Okay, not specific at all, and they keep doing the pressers and the photo ops and the hard hat and the this and that. And the CMHC keeps pumping up. Oh, yeah, it's up. But if you're this young person who wants to buy a home, okay, or that's not what's happening for you. Because you're going to be wondering why 2 years from now the prices are up and there's less to buy. You know, everybody's going to announce, well, it's just lack of inventory. You hear realtors say it all the time. Lack of inventory. Yeah, because if you're building big towers, 400 suite rentals, that's not a house to buy. Okay, so we're building fewer houses to buy than ever before. We're building fewer every month in Ontario. So and I would say in BC as well. So Alberta's doing good, and we've done that part of that on the show before. Someday we'll do a whole segment on what's right about Alberta. But the bottom line is, Alberta doing good with houses for people to buy. Yeah. Okay. But everything that you hear about getting built right now building starts. They're all multifamily. That much CMHC did say. All the growth is in multifamily. Okay. But what they didn't say is that means rentals.
Right.
Okay. So you're never going to be able to buy one of these.
That's the catch.
That's the catch. So is the situation on housing to buy, is that supply side getting worse all the time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. It's getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's causing the prices of homes to be so ridiculous. Like, I was looking at a listing in Etobicoke, and the house had purple carpet.
Jesus.
And it was selling for 1.9.
Purple carpet. Ooh, 1.9 million purple carpet?
Yes.
Was that like one of Prince's girlfriends that was there? I mean,
it was like this purpley pink hue carpet, like wallpaper galore. You could tell that when they
Hold on a second. Wallpaper?
There's a wallpaper everywhere.
Oh my God.
And I was just like, this is not, I know.
So this is like, it's too much. This is like grandma on acid house, right?
Yeah, I think they said it was like the original owners of the home, which, yeah, great. But like, we could tell that was not needed. We can tell.
Wow. We can tell, folks. We know what it is. Yeah, we know what the fuck it is. Wow. Yeah. Look, I mean, your point is exactly right. I mean, because if we don't build new homes for young people to buy, then you're stuck with the price of psychedelic grandma's house going up to $2 million. Okay, like wallpaper, sweet Jesus. I mean, come on, let's just get reasonable.
Yeah.
So yeah, folks, truth and lies. All right. The truth is that all these programs that the government's different levels of government are sponsoring may end up with pushing more density through. We're going to do a whole different show about density next week, but they may end up pushing some density through, but they are not building homes for people to live in. That's all.
Well, for people to buy. Yeah.
Sorry, for people to buy. They're building homes for rentals for people to live in. I'm not fighting that idea. It was neglected for decades. We need more rental homes.
Yeah. But
when you put on that hard hat and put that fluorescent vest on, you better say, "Hey, people! Hey, people! We're in this project here." Like Krista Freeland's in the project, waving her arms around, like She should say, and by the way, none of these are for you to buy. None of them, not one.
Yeah.
These are for people to rent, which is great. You need subsidized rental, but you ain't buying it. All right, what's going on with rates? Truth is, not much with rates. This is like a very, very quiet rate week. Okay.
Yeah.
Super quiet. Nothing happened. Now bond yields are up a bit. We had what's called a CPI, Consumer Price Index print in a report in the United States, and inflation is actually holding steady on the high side. And so Federal Reserve isn't going to cut rates. They're going to cut rates in March. Probably isn't going to cut rates in June. And what does that mean? That the thesis of this never changes. Eventually, there will be cuts, whether it's both in Canada and the United States. Because the one thing that we are observing is that people are finally starting to say, as a theme, the economy is getting crappier in Canada. Like you hear when you listen on to other podcasts or listen to just general commentary, you're constantly hearing people. I've even heard some politicians start to say it, that the economy's bad, people are hurting. So once you hear enough of that, it's a fact. Poor economy equals inflation gradually gets wrestled down, or the economy is so goddamn bad that eventually the Bank of Canada just cuts anyway. Okay, we're going to do a new target. New target is 3%. Fuck 2%, 3% now. So, but what's happened? Bond yields crept up, as we've told you many, many times. The bond yields control the fixed rates, and yet the fixed rates have not gone up as yet. They have not gone up. There's a little bit of room for them. Is this also across Canada, we're coming into prime real estate season, which is March, April, May. And so the banks want to be a little bit more competitive, and they are. And, that's a benefit to people. The rates have not gone up from where they were. Now, but what it does mean is when you keep seeing these lousy inflation reports, lousy what I mean by is not going down, then that pushes rate cuts farther and farther off. So the variable people and the line of credit people, the HELOC people, home equity lines, bad news for you. It ain't that ain't changing. I mean, you're paying. God, when I see people paying 7.7 on a HELOC, right? That's real money.
Yeah, yeah, for
that
real.
is real money. And the variable. Everybody on variable is still 6.2, 6.45, 6.55. It's all ugly. Anyway, so the news on rates is no news so far. We'll see what happens next week. We'll give you an update. All right, we got our listener mail. We got questions.
We've got some questions. Okay. This one says, what do you think about borrowing on the house to do investments like private mortgages or stocks like Apple or Meta? I have lots of equity in the home.
It's a great question. First of all, Meta stock. I always wonder about people buying Meta stock because I am so convinced that Mark Zuckerberg is somebody from another planet. He is somebody who came on a spaceship. And I don't think he's like the lizard man so there's this guy in the mortgage business who's 8 feet tall, lives in Vancouver. He's like 8 feet tall.
8 feet?
About 8 feet. He's a really tall guy, a shiny chrome head. And I think when he goes home, I think he unzips his skin and a lizard person crawls out. Okay, that's what I think anyway. But that is a different guy. That's a mortgage person. Okay, this is Mark Zuckerberg, which, let's face it, Mark Zuckerberg is one weird fucking dude, right? Like, if you've seen him, you look at, whoa, who are you? What are you? Like, what's going on here?
He's a bit awkward.
It's just so awkward. It's so bad. Anyway, Elon Musk might be crazy. Okay, he may be crazy. I think Elon admits he's on the spectrum, like way on the spectrum. Okay, and he says some crazy shit, but Elon Musk, you could tell he's an actual human. Like he does things like he smokes weed and he like, maybe I took some mushrooms once when I was young. I was on the mushrooms and I like this and like that. Like you could say this guy, he's different, but he's human.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he has like 11 kids. So he likes to fuck.
With great names.
With great names, weird names, and different women, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that I'm not endorsing that. Please put all your phones down. You're going to do the comments now. You're going to say, "Oh, you love Elon. I fucking hate you." I did not say that. I didn't say I love Elon. I just said, for sure, Elon's human. The jury's out on Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
That's my position. Okay.
Questionable. Yeah.
Very questionable.
Yeah.
So that's all. And by the way, this is all coming from a question. What should I take money out of my house to buy investments? So we went
off track real quick.
Way off. So, all right. So let's talk about that. Here's the key thing that people don't necessarily understand clearly about taking equity out of their homes, borrowing money out of their homes to buy investments. This is the most important thing. Unfortunately, a lot of other people in different businesses don't talk to you about this, but I'm going to tell you about this. Fucking listen to me, okay? You are paying interest on that money. It's not magic. You didn't just take magical, gold, like, goose that laid the golden egg, the Rumpelstiltskin gold, like whatever it is. You just didn't get gold out of your house to do investments. You're borrowing on your house. So you're paying an interest rate.
Right.
So if you're paying on a HELOC, you're paying 7.2 or you're paying 7.7. If you're borrowing with a mortgage, you're paying somewhere between 4.99 and 5.65. You're paying. So whatever you invest in better have an absolute ironclad fucking guarantee of exceeding the interest, or you're losing money.
Of course.
Okay, you're just losing money.
Of course.
So that's number one. Number two, there's a bunch of investments that when you invest in them, no matter what your tax bracket is, high or low, they will attract specific tax. Like for instance, on a private mortgage, that's interest. You're receiving interest income. So even if you're a relatively low income person, you will still be taxed on that interest income. So you got now two things going on. You're paying interest, and if you went out and got a private mortgage, so you're paying interest. Let's say it's a mortgage. You're paying 5.29, 5.09, whatever it is, but let's call it 5%, and you're getting a 9.5% return. You might say to yourself, "Well, that's 4.5% return. That's pretty good." But there's tax. So maybe your whole return is only 3% net in your pocket. If you say, well, 3% is better than I had before. Yes, but you must understand that hardly any investment is fully guaranteed. Hardly any, because
always high risk.
The only thing that's high, medium, low, whatever it is, there's only one no risk, like government insured GICs in a bank. That's no risk. They pay 5. The interest is 5.5, 5.09. You're losing off the hop. Right? So it doesn't make any sense. Right. So that's the main consideration. You have to do the math. And let's face it, investing in Meta, investing in Apple, whatever the hell, NVIDIA, whatever you're investing in, it's a risk. It's a true, you don't know where it's going to go. And you might, although my cousin made 300% on NVIDIA, it's like fantastic. Okay, he made 300%. First of all, did he? You're taking his word for it, okay? Next, it was a chance of a lifetime. Like NVIDIA was the highest increasing stock in the history of the world for a while. So that's kind of a lucky move, right? So please, folks, when you're thinking about taking money out of your house to invest, you've got to do a lot of math. You got to talk to an accountant, figure out what the taxes are going to be. And you've got to also understand you could go backwards.
Of course.
You could lose money on it.
Yeah.
If you're borrowing to make money, you could also borrow to lose money. You'd be losing money. Simple as that. What else?
This one says, my bank is saying I have to decide on my renewal today because their rule is I have to decide 1 week before the renewal date. It's kind of short, no?
Well, here's the problem, though. In theory, you should have started shopping months before your renewal. You should have been all settled. You need to start shopping 2 to 3 months before your renewal, not wait till the last minute. That's not a great idea, but it happens sometimes. But here is the main thing to say about any banker or anybody at a bank who's saying you must decide now because it's our rule. You have to decide a week before your maturity date. That's our rule. So the correct answer to that is fuck yourself, bank person. That is a fucking lie. Here's why. Mortgages at banks are all law. They're not the bank's rules. These banks created mortgages that matched real law. And the law of mortgages is that renewal date, which we refer to as a maturity date in law, okay, in the contract law, that maturity date is the date. You have till that date to do something. You can pay the mortgage off on that date. You don't have to pay it off 5 days beforehand. You don't. Well, yes, you do, because you'd have to give it 5 days to post. No, if you got a teller stamp certified check that you're paying the mortgage off on the renewal date, yeah, it might take 3 or 4 days to post, but you can't charge a penalty. You can't auto renewal. You have to accept that certified check is payment for that mortgage. Or what if we wire transfer the money in to pay it off, right? If it's the maturity date, it's the maturity date. You can't use it's our regulation, okay? Fuck you. It's just bullshit. Don't listen to that bullshit. This is bank personnel putting pressure on you for no rational reason, okay? It's a lie. Maturity date is the maturity date. So now, with some banks, you got to be really careful. For instance, Scotia, I'm not beating up on Scotia. They're my friends. But with Scotia, if you don't get an email from Scotia, from somebody at Scotia saying, okay, it's coming up. If you don't tell us what you're doing, we automatically roll you to a very expensive 6-month closed. Fully closed, you can't do anything for 6 months, and you get to pay 7.45, which is a shitty outcome, okay? You can insist, you can send them an email, and you have to absolutely insist you get a reply. You have to get an email reply. You have to get something in writing that says we are rolling you into a open mortgage. It's expensive, it's 9.75. But if you're planning on switching and you just missed the date of the switch, you have to be open. It's very important. Okay. And don't be shook up by bullshit stories from people. You have till your maturity date. Okay.
This one says, my parents are getting old, still in their paid for house. I worry someone could try and pull a fast one on them. Identity theft or something along those lines.
Sometimes we get questions like this from time to time, because we read stories about identity theft, and we read stories about elderly people being taken advantage of by others, because they can be, like
easier targets. They're not as tech savvy as most people,
and sometimes they're lonely.
Of course,
sometimes they're lonely. So somebody. They've been warned to be careful, but let's face it. If you're a bad person, if you're an evildoer who sets out to do harm, you learn how to get into older people's confidence, right? You figure ways out. You're good at it, or you wouldn't have that job of stealing, okay? Or defrauding. So here's the key. One of the best things you could ever do to guard particularly against people who are trying to because we've heard of people who say, well, like they sold the house. I don't know how it happened, but they sold my house right out from under me. Or I don't know how it happened, but they put a mortgage on my house without my knowledge. Okay. All right. By the way, that put a mortgage on my house without my knowledge does happen. We've read about it. Okay. How do you avoid it? One easy tool is to just get a line of credit on your house. Like old people say, I don't want any lending on I don't want to borrow on my house. No, shush. Just listen, okay? You're going to put a line of credit on your house and never use it. So that's going to cost you a few $100, maybe $1,000. Maybe the bank will do it for free, okay? But when you do that, you've now got two things going on. You got title insurance on your home. Title insurance guards you against this kind of thing. About any kind of theft of the property, title theft or anything of that nature. Very well worth it. And most importantly, there's now there's an instrument registered on the title of the home. It's a HELOC. There's no borrowing going on. You didn't use the HELOC, didn't use the secured line of credit. It's just sitting there unused, no interest cost. But it's on the title. It appears on the title. So to put a new mortgage on the home, you have to discharge the old mortgage, which is a HELOC, right? Secured line of credit. You have to involve another lawyer in that. Like, you just, or it's much more in depth to do the discharge than to just put a new mortgage on. Okay. That's one great way to prevent it. Okay. But let's face it. One person asked me once, well, what about if there's what happened? Like, I live in one city, my parents live in another city. They're getting old. They seem to be okay, but sometimes I wonder a little bit how perfect they are in their minds. Okay. What if some realtor snuck in there and convinced them to sell it, for some unreasonably low price? I mean, well, first of all, I don't know how to fix that,
There's something on you.
Oh, it's just a little bug. It's gone now. I didn't get it on you.
No, you did.
Hey, folks, so the podcast, people worry about bugs.
It's ant season.
Ron doesn't worry about bugs. Ron is like this. Here's what Ron knows. I am a...
oh, my God. You flicked the ant at me.
No, there wasn't even an ant. What Ron knows is that I weigh over 325 pounds, okay? The bug weighs 1/100th of an ounce, okay?
I feel like there's things on me.
I am like a jillion times the size of the bug.
No, but they're icky.
It cannot hurt me. Logic is my guide in this. Anyway,
oh, man.
For the audience, sorry about the bug incident, but we're back to mortgages.
I couldn't.
Okay? We're back to mortgages.
I couldn't ignore it.
It's wild. Okay, so there's nothing can really stop people from being convinced to sell their homes. Okay. Again, having some sort of HELOC on the home creates an extra step, and hopefully kids get notified about these things. But you can't. I don't know how to stop that.
Right.
Okay. I know how to fight identity theft, and it's very efficient. Put a line of credit on the house. Don't use the line of credit. Don't borrow anything on it. It's just sitting there. And now you've got title insurance. You've got much better security on the house now. That makes it harder for bad people to do this fake identity thing and put mortgages on homes. Because they put the mortgage on a home, they take the money and they run away, and then all of a sudden, bank sends you a letter and says, "Hey, you owe us this money. What happened?" Okay, and then it comes out. But so yes, you can avoid it. That's the best system. Okay. I had something interesting came to me this week from a smart mortgage broker in Northern Ontario, Todd Schofield. And he brought up something that's interesting to me, and it was all news. Now, it's a small thing. It's not a big thing, but it really identifies some of the utter craziness that goes on in government. Because government can be pretty crazy. So we got military bases in Canada, right?
Right.
They're scattered all over the place. There's some in Northern Ontario, there's some in Quebec, some outside of Ottawa, some in the prairies, and some in the Atlantic provinces, and some in the West Coast. Like there's a naval base, right? Did you know there's a naval base in West Coast?
Yeah, I knew that.
It's in Esquimalt. I've actually driven by it. It's a beautiful place. It's this beautiful location at the end of Vancouver Island. It's just gorgeous. Okay. So we got all these military bases. And what happens is these military folks get transferred a lot, right?
Yeah.
They get reassigned all the time. Go from this base to that base to this base. And, some of these folks, I think, they're in like 10, 8, 9, 7, 8. Like if you stay the whole 20 years, you've seen a lot of Canada. Okay.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So the interesting thing is there is housing on the base, but there's never enough. And sometimes it's in disrepair. So a lot of these people who are forced to move, like you just can't say, okay, here's your transfer. You're going from British Columbia to Northern Ontario. Here you go. And here's how you do it. And here's the setup. And you got to be there, report on this date. You just can't say, well, fuck, no, I'm not going. Yeah. I'm not going. You're the military. You're the military. You're the army, for God's sakes. You got to go.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening, they pay for all the move, but still, what happens is sometimes you're going from low population areas with their somewhat cheaper homes to high population areas with more, or just areas that have higher prices. And it's distortion. So here's the weird part. If you move the people around, sometimes they have to seek housing off base because there's just not enough housing on the base to look after them or anywhere near enough. Okay. And they select houses that are off the base. Well, that means there's a constant in the places which have these bases. There's a constant requirement for people who need to buy houses, right? So it's kind of artificially pumps up. Sometimes they have to sell too, but it sort of is another bit of pressure. If you're not building new homes to buy, right? It's another kind of pressure on the community, okay? To have people to buy houses. So this is the interesting point that Todd made. He said, look, I just drove through the base, and I think half of the places that you could live on the base are empty. Oh. So we got a fucking housing shortage going on in Canada. Why are their bases empty? Okay. Mm-hmm. Now look, I get it. I sort of figured out why bases could be empty. Okay. Places, living quarters on the basis could be empty because there's a limited. I read an article. He sent along a good article. There's limited budget for repair and upkeep, and sometimes there's just not enough money in the till to do that. But let's think about this for a second. Mm-hmm. We're spending like $5 billion on a housing accelerator program, okay? Which is okay, but like, why don't we just chop off like 500 million of that and fix all these fucking houses on these military bases, okay? And let people live there, okay? And take the pressure off. Like, why the fuck have we got unusable homes on military bases? Like, how fucking stupid is that, right?
That's so stupid.
So fucking stupid. It's unbelievable, okay?
Yeah.
I'll give you another one. And because Todd also points out, well, in some cases, there's not enough accommodation on the base to ever handle all of the people assigned to the base. You have to rent or live or buy property off base, off the base to live in. Because there's just not enough. Even if they fix them all up, there's not enough, okay? So it just hit me like a fucking brick, okay? The land is free on the military base. Just build some fucking houses, for Christ's sake. Not only is the land free on the military base, but there's no taxes or development fees from the municipality.
Fucking build.
Just fucking build.
Oh my God.
Fucking build.
There's always answers.
We listen to politicians say, yes, we plan to be able to release some federal land for Canadians to buy.
So stupid.
Fuck, we got some federal land and we're not building on it right now, and the Canadians and the military need to live in it, for fuck's sakes, okay?
There's always obvious answers to how to fix things, but they're just like, oh, we can't see anything.
Yeah, but like if Todd had never mentioned it to me, I would not have had a fucking clue about it.
Because they're keeping it under the rug.
Well,
why are they gonna bring something up that's gonna make them look stupid?
Right, and like, and somebody said, I remember I was talking about it to some other people in the office, and one said, "Well, why wouldn't the military people make that known? They're in the fucking military. They can't blow the whistle on the fucking generals for fuck's sakes. I mean, like, you can't do that. All right, so." All these, people wonder, Ron, you're just a rage farmer. You're a fucking rage farmer. You just talk shit about government and people get excited. Well, guess what? What if it's not shit? What if it's just fucking true? Okay? Like, shouldn't we be mad at a government who doesn't have enough housing for the military on the base, forcing the people in the military to buy or rent at high rates and prices off the base? When the land inside the base is fucking free, there's no development fees from the municipality, there's no taxes, there's no extra levies, there's no fuck all. You just dig up some fucking old houses dig up some drawings from fucking 50 years ago when we built houses on bases and just build those fucking houses, okay?
So simple. But it's always a simple fix. It always is.
Jesus Christ.
Just makes shit worse.
It was just so fucking shocked. I mean, like honestly, we're spending $5 billion on Housing Accelerator, and over 10 years, and we got military people who can't even live in the stuff that's already built there because they don't fucking maintain it. This is the craziest thing I've ever fucking heard. But a lot of crazy stuff in Canada, folks. I mean, a lot of illogical stuff. And you know what happens to us all? When we hear so much silliness go on, I'm going to finish the show on some major fucking silliness, but when we hear so much silliness going on, we just get exhausted sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
Of course. You see that we pay so much taxes.
So much.
And it goes to developers for a rhyme scam. like maybe if he was in the military, he could have fixed up the place.
He is in the military.
Is he?
One of those guys one of the big bitches.
Not the D&D employee.
Yeah, he's a D&D employee, but he's not in that department.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's everything to do with Department of National Defense is the military, right?
Right. Okay, but he's not like on the base.
No, he's not. He's not an officer. He's not in the military.
Okay.
But like, yeah, that's where he is. Okay, that's where that guy was.
He could have helped his peers.
That thing's just going to get worse and worse. All right. So something I wanted to talk about. I've talked about it before on the show. few months ago, but I got to bring it up again because it's just so fucked up. So that's our favorite part of the show.
What the actual fuck?
What the actual fuck is going on with this fucking car theft? Okay. So to this last week comes the recommendation from the from the police in Toronto. Hey, there's more home invasions to get your keys to steal your car. There's home invasions.
Right.
You might get hurt or worse in the home invasion. So please leave your car keys in an easy place for the thieves to find in your house.
Just take this. You might as well leave them like candy on Halloween on the front door in a little bowl with your car keys.
So, when I ran this post on X, we got a million responses. Why not just leave them in the car? Leave the car running for anyway.
Have it easy for them. Why don't you just drive your car to the port at this point and just donate it?
Look. I mean, here's the thing. A lot of people are mad at a lot of people in Ontario were mad at the cops for saying this. But I look at it differently. I'm not mad at the cops.
They're trying to save lives. I get it.
Well, but most importantly, and this is another thing they can't say. The cops can't say this part out loud because it's the cops. I mean, if you get chirpy about what you think the justice system is doing, you don't get promoted.
No,
like never. Okay, they can hammer you. Okay. So here's the real truth. When I ran this post, there was a bunch of cops replied and said, "Oh, let me tell you, yeah, that is so fucking true." Let me get to the fucking epic rant here, okay? So, don't blame the cops. Don't blame the cops about leave your keys where they can find it, so they don't come in and beat you up for the keys, okay? In a home invasion, because that is happening. That has happened. Okay? When they stole my younger son's car, they were in the house. They went in the house to find the keys. They got them. So, big thing here. If you're a cop and you arrested, you found these fuckers, like you found them somehow, like you got them, you caught them.
Right.
And you brought them in, book them, okay? Arrested, they're in the jail. So what if they were out the next day? So then
they are.
So because I read a piece where I said, well, I think that, they could get out on bail right away. They get on bail right away. Then somebody comes at me and replies and says, whoa, you don't know what you're talking about. They don't even go through the bail system. Like it's a non-violent crime if they don't break in the home. If they don't break in the home, don't threaten anybody. It's a non-violent crime. Even though it's theft over $5,000, it's a non-violent crime. We just let them go.
Wow.
Yeah, They don't even go to bail court. Okay.
So they're just walking away.
Catch and release.
What the fuck?
Yep, catch and release. Okay. So if you're a cop,
wow,
and what do you think when you catch the same guy fucking twice in 3 months?
That must feel like a slap in the face. Like the guy's just laughing at you at this point.
No shit. Okay. Like, what do you do when you pull over you see the stolen car, you pull it over, you approach these guys at gunpoint. The one guy the driver rolls down the window and says, "Hey, Officer Clark, we meet again."
Yeah.
Okay, like what the fuck? Like it's fucking nuts. Okay,
that is so bizarre,
so fucked up. Okay, but there's that. Okay, that it's catch and release for car theft. It's catch and release for lots of stuff, right?
Yeah, it's just a slap in the wrist, if that.
Well, and then sometimes charges are dropped. All the time charges are dropped, okay? So, fucking catch and release for the car thieves. And then remember, I talked about how this whole thing could be fixed by just having like 300, 400 full-time cops deployed into the Port of Montreal. And we're going to check every single fucking container, okay? And we're going to kill the profit. If you kill the profit, if they can't ship the cars out of the country, the people in the U.S. don't want to buy stolen cars. I mean, all these cars end up in Africa and Middle East or wherever, overseas,
anywhere
where the law isn't enforced. Law is easily enforced in the U.S. The U.S. will cooperate. They don't want car theft either. Okay, so if you can't get it out of the country, car theft dies. You take the profit out of something, it dies. Okay. Criminals are the most entrepreneurial people on earth. Okay. If it's profitable, we're going to ramp it up, baby.
Yeah.
We're going to ramp this fucker up. My God, we're ramping the fucking car theft up. Okay. Because there's tons of money to be made, billions and billions to be made. We're going to ramp it the fuck up. Okay. So if the cops realize it's catch and release, we're just going to let them all go. Okay. We're going to let them all, we're probably going to let them go. If we catch them twice, we're still going to let them go. Okay. They're professionals at that point, right? I mean, you've been caught twice. I mean, and I know a bunch of lawyers out there going, "Oh, you are so wrong, you fat man. People are innocent until proven guilty. There's a presumption of innocence." And for fuck's sakes, if you're caught in the stolen car twice, fuck me. Come on, listen.
Yeah.
Oh, my girlfriend gave it to me. I don't know what happened. Yeah, right. Fuck off. You're a car thief. Okay. So look, it's catch and release. And now the Port of Montreal, they had we're in photo op territory again.
Of course.
They had a huge meeting. Big meeting. They called in all the chief of police. They called in all the cabinet. Trudeau was there for the whole day. He had took his jacket off. He rolled up his sleeves. I love
that look.
You love that look, right? I gotta admit this right now. For his age, he's a good looking man.
Yeah.
I say it out loud. I mean, like I'm.
People would call him Prince Eric because he looks like from The Little Mermaid.
God damn.
Because he would do that. He has like the roll
those
sleeves
up.
Yeah.
Roll that sleeve up. Okay. Yeah. Like he's a good. I don't give a shit. He's a good looking man. I don't give a goddamn. Okay. He is a good looking man. He's not Castro's kid. He's not. Quit fucking saying that, people. Okay. So they're all there. The whole government's there. Everybody's there. Going to do this, going to do that. We're going to beat car theft. We're going to take this measure. We're going to go after we're going to have the car manufacturers. They're going to do better on security. We're going to okay. Okay, get a lot of pictures. Everybody got their pictures. Okay, going to make sure you put all the post those online. Post pictures of me talking online about stopping car theft. Keep going. Okay, great. End of meeting. Let's go.
Everyone goes home.
Everybody goes home. Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Okay. They sent a handful of cops to the Port of Montreal, and they discovered that once they found 6 stolen cars, they had to stop because there's only parking for 6.
Shut up.
No, that's fucking true. That was a story in the Globe and Mail. That was a story. That was a real legitimate news story. They had to stop at 6 because there's no place to park.
So you could only park 6 cars at a
Yeah,
time.
like there's limited parking at the Port of Montreal. Okay.
What the fuck?
Well, it couldn't have had fuck all doof with the mafia controlling the port, right? Like it had nothing to do with that. So if you're a cop and you know the car theft is catch and fucking release. If you know they didn't send 350 people with to look at every fucking container and ramp up all possible security and make sure not one fucking stolen car left the port, well, because once they find 6, they got to stop. Okay, so they didn't do any of that. So if you're a cop and you realize the justice system and the government has not been serious in any fucking way to stop this, wouldn't you just tell people to leave their keys out?
Yeah.
You don't want people to get hurt.
You're kind of just like, I give up at this point.
No fucking kidding.
Yeah.
Give the fuck up.
How are you trying to enforce a law that the government's not even trying to enforce? No one's trying to enforce a law but you. You just fucking give up at that point.
It's just pretend
You're
enforcement.
small peanuts.
It's pretend enforcement. Because believe me, if you catch the same fucking car thief twice, you know you're fucked.
Yeah.
You're the cop. You know this is a joke.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hey, Government of Canada, quit the fucking photo op. Send 350 fucking cops, but I don't care what you have to do. Put them up in hotels. I don't give a shit. Spend any amount of money.
Buy a parking
lot. Build a bigger fucking parking lot, okay? And why don't you line up some empty containers? Put the fucking cars you find in there, for fuck's sakes, till you find their owners. Like, quit this bullshit and just make sure not one fucking stolen car gets out of the Port of Montreal and car theft dies in Eastern Canada. In 2 weeks, it's gone. All right. Smarten. I seem to end on this every day. Every time we do the show. Smarten the fuck up. Okay. Fix this. See you next week, folks.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.